I'll have a number 4 meal with extra cheese, 2 Big Macs with a large fry, 3 apple pies, and a shamrock shake. All right, Stan, your total comes out to $46.50. The land whale grunted approvingly as he shoved a greasy wad of crumpled bills into Gary's outstretched palm. Here's your change. I'll call your number when it's ready. Stan trundled away to await his late-night snack as Gary and I prepared the food. Geez, man. Does he have a family waiting at home or something? I whispered as Gary shoveled fries into a red and yellow box. Blair, does that man look like he's got a wife and kids? Stan is one of our regulars. You'll see him pretty often if you stick with the night shift. I grimaced as I prepared the shake. Great. Lucky me. Hey, it could be a lot worse. Honestly, Stan is the least of your worries, he said as a shudder rippled through his body. We processed the remainder of the food in silence. Gary and I then shuffled to the counter, each donning a full tray. Stan, orders up, Gary exclaimed as the boulder of a man darted at an alarming speed to retrieve his sodium-rich smorgasbord. He snatched the trays from us, hurriedly ambling back to his corner table. I watched in astonishment as the man inhaled his meal. Hey, could you help me sweep in the back? Best to do it now before any more customers. Gary was interrupted by an obnoxiously loud alarm blaring from his pocket. Stan looked up at him, glowering at the unwelcome ringing. Sorry, gotta take this, he said, darting to the kitchen and out of view. He returned a moment later. All the color had drained from his face. He appeared sickly, like he'd suddenly caught a nasty case of the flu. That was my aunt, Norma. She said my parents were in a car wreck. Apparently my mom is in critical condition. He stared off into space, his brain slowly processing the tragic information it had just received. Gary, I'm so sorry. Do you need me to call someone? He snapped out of his trance, tears brimming in the corners of his eyes. He quickly wiped them away. No, I'll be fine. Okay, but with all due respect, what are you still doing here? Go be with your family, dude. I can handle closing up on my own. He locked eyes with me, a stern determination creeping over his countenance. You're right. I need to go. Here, take my key to the restaurant. There's a list of rules in Dave's office. Go read them the first chance you get. You need to follow them to a T, no matter how ridiculous they sound. Got it? Yep. I'll take care of it. Now go, I said as Gary handed me a small silver object. He sprinted out the front door, letting it slam shut behind him. I fashioned Gary's drive-through headset below my hat and headed to the back to familiarize myself with the nighttime protocols. I laboriously pushed open the door to Dave's office. You'd think that thing was made from solid gold with how heavy it was. I surveyed my surroundings, my eyes immediately falling to the life-sized portrait beaming back at me. Really, Dave? Even I'm not that self-absorbed, I muttered, continuing my search. I defaulted to the pockmarked bulletin board to my right. There they were, posted clear as day. I swiftly scanned over them. Rules for the night shift 1. You are allowed a 7-minute grace period. No exceptions. 2. If a hooded figure knocks at the drive-thru window, do not answer it. Stay out of its direct line of sight and it will leave. 3. If Stan claims that you forgot his pickles, offer him a free complimentary chocolate shake. If he refuses, lock yourself in the office and call Dave. 4. No outside food or drink. 5. If a blood-like substance begins seeping from under the grill, mop it up until it stops. No, it is not blood. 6. An old woman in a shawl will come in exactly 10 minutes past 1. Avoid looking at her for too long. She will not leave until you ask her where Tony is. 7. If a small child appears telling you he lost his mother, ignore him. He does not have good intentions. 8. You are required to comply with the employee dress code. Speak to management if you need clarification on what is acceptable. 9. If you are alone and you feel the undeniable sensation of being watched, lock yourself in the office immediately and wait for it to dissipate. 10. The store closes at 2 a.m. Before you clock out, place 2 packages of raw burgers on the stove. 11. Always leave the restaurant by 2:37 a.m. The Hamburglar doesn't like company. 12. Failure to adhere to these rules will result in immediate termination. Do not hesitate to call Dave if you have any questions or concerns. Dave's phone number was hastily scrawled at the bottom of the page. I stared at the list, unsure of what to make of it. Was this some sort of cruel prank on the newbie? Maybe Gary was in on it. I resolved to wait and find out for myself, and I made my way back to the counter. Upon seeing me approach, Stan rapidly stood from his seat and sidled up to me. Can I help you with something? Yeah. You forgot my pickles. I mentally rolled my eyes. Gary hadn't been gone for 10 minutes and the fun was already ramping up. Look, I watched my coworker make those. I know he didn't... I began, before Rule 3 crept into my head. I'm sorry. I can offer you a free shake for the inconvenience? His 4 chins flapped as he fervently shook his head. No, I don't want any more food. There is another way you could make it up to me, though. A malicious grin inched across his face. A blanket of fear sent adrenaline bursting through my veins. I'm 16, sir. If you really think... That's not what I meant, you dumb broad. I want a refund. What? No, you already ate it all. Fine. If you won't give me my money back, I'll have to take it from you. The massive mound of flesh began waddling to meet me behind the counter. I fled to the back, praying he wouldn't catch me. I glanced behind me as I struggled to push open the absurdly heavy office door. Stan was barreling toward me, sending shelves of product crashing to the ground. My heart thumped against my ribcage so hard that it hurt. I had just managed to slip through the door and slam it shut when he reached it. He pounded his ape-like fists against the sturdy metal frame, shouting obscenities at me all the while. I'll get you, you little whore. You can't stay in there forever. He was right. I instantly ripped the yellowing piece of paper from the board and punched in Dave's number. He picked up after an agonizingly long minute of waiting. Hello? This had better be good. I value my beauty sleep. Dave, it's Stan. The free shake didn't work. I'm trapped in the office. Dave sighed. All right, put it on speaker and hold your phone up to the door so he can hear me. I obliged, clenching my cracked iPhone 7 with a vice grip and sticking it close to the rattling door. Stan? Stan, can you hear me? It's Dave. The room fell eerily silent. Oh yeah, what's up, Davey? Stan, are you harassing one of my employees again? I don't need to get Mrs. Barrett on the phone, do I? No, please. I'll behave, I swear. Please, just don't call her. His voice trembled as he spoke. I don't know. That's what you said the last time. I promise I'll never bother her again. Come on, Davey, show a little compassion. Dave took a moment to respond. All right, but I need you to go home and you need to apologize to Mrs. Blake for scaring her. Blair, I interjected, face-palming myself. Right. Apologize to Blair and I'll let you off the hook. Oh, thank you. Sorry, Blaze. So, can I take you up on that free shake? No, Stan. No free shake tonight. I need you to leave, Dave said, a stern finality in his statement. Without another word, Stan angrily tromped through the kitchen and out the front door. I didn't release my breath until I heard it shut behind him. Thanks, Dave. Anytime, kid. In my experience, threatening to call his mother is a decent deterrent for any overgrown man-baby. I chuckled, sensing the tension disperse. I'm going to get back to bed now. Good luck tonight. And with that, he abruptly hung up. I sat for a moment, controlling my breathing in order to steady my palpitating heart before returning to my duties. I trudged into the kitchen and begrudgingly got to work cleaning the mess of boxes and condiments that Stan had strewn throughout the area. I had just put the final ketchup bottle in its place when out of the corner of my eye, I saw it. A figure was standing at the drive-through window. I immediately tensed up, every muscle in my body freezing in place. It glared at me, yellow glowing eyes piercing the darkness. It raised a gloved fist and knocked lightly on the thin glass. The sound freed me from my stupor. Rule 2. I dashed to the counter and crouched behind it, hugging my knees to my chest. Ice flooded my veins as the knocking grew louder. The window shook in its frame as the light knocks soon escalated to rapid pounding. I squeezed my eyes shut, terrified at the notion that the slim barrier to the outside world wouldn't hold. The constant noise assaulted my eardrums, crashing against them like thunder during a storm. The knocking crescendoed into a fever pitch of resounding slams. Just when I thought that I might lose my sanity, it stopped. I glanced up in the midst of the unsettling silence I found myself in. It was gone, as if the entity had never appeared in the first place. I gradually stood and took my time getting my bearings. I hesitantly peeked around the corner at the drive-through. Nothing. Not so much as a scratch on the glass. I glanced down at my phone. 12:15 a.m., less than 2 hours. I could handle it, right? I began sweeping like Gary was beginning to ask me to do prior to receiving his unfortunate news. I was thankful for a break in the action. I didn't know how much more I could take. Apparently, I could take a lot more, as I came to find out. A couple of college kids stumbled in, trying to hide the fact that they were obviously stoned out of their minds, and retrieved a pickup order. I watched as they clumsily staggered out the door. One of them held it politely for a small old lady, an old lady wearing a shawl. She didn't utter so much as a thank you, beelining up to the register with purpose. I was exhausted, up well past my normal operating hours, so I had completely forgotten about the rules. Big mistake. The woman glowered up at me, face obscured from view. Her head covering was black as well as the rest of her outfit, not unlike a ninja you'd see in a movie. The aura she radiated frightened me, but not enough to release me from my sleepy haze. Hello, how can I help you? I yawned, lazily covering my mouth. The woman didn't move a muscle. She scowled at me, yellow reptilian eyes piercing my psyche and sending my heart into overdrive. Ma'am, would you like to order something? Nothing. The longer we continued our staring match, the more sedated I felt, and not just due to the lack of sleep. She had some sort of strange pull over me. I nearly nodded off, my mind wandering back to the instructions. Before I passed out, I murmured, "Where's Tony?" Suddenly, I was released from my trance and the woman was nowhere to be found, like she had simply vanished into thin air. My eyes widened. That was close. Too close. I trudged to the sink and splashed some cool water in my face, then poured myself a large cup of coffee. I knew it would probably keep me up well past closing, but hey, if it helped me avoid another incident like that, I was all for it. I had just finished dumping the dustpan into the trash when I felt it. A peculiar sensation crept over me like bugs crawling on the back of my neck. I was being watched. But from where? I sensed it coming from the drive-thru. I whipped my head in its direction. Empty. It shifted to the dining area. No one was there. I grew lightheaded, and panic began to surge through my system. A breeze swept past my ear, and I swear I could hear a soft, almost imperceptible voice whisper, "Blair." I bolted to the office, slamming the door shut as quickly as I could. What was that? I paced around the office like a caged animal, anxiously waiting for something, anything to happen. After what felt like an eternity, it began to dissipate without incident. I sat there for a moment, contemplating if this was really the right career path for me. Was every night like this? I was snapped back to reality by static emanating from my headset. I ripped it off until the noise stopped. A bumbling male voice crackled through it. "Hey, is this place open?" He slurred, obviously under the influence. "Yeah. What do you want to order?" I was beginning to lose my cool. Between all the strange occurrences and the inebriated customers, my patience was wearing thin. "I'll have a filet-o-fish meal." "Coming right up." I made my way back to the kitchen and began preparing his order. Who the hell comes to McDonald's at 1:30 in the morning for a freaking filet-o-fish? I grumbled, purposely dousing his sandwich in sauce. I served the man, hoping to be rid of him as soon as possible. "Thanks. Hey, is that a kid at the counter?" I turned my head, and sure enough, there he was. A mess of blonde tangles and deep blue eyes peered at me from the register. I sighed. "Yeah, I'll take care of him. Have a good night." A child, unaccompanied in my restaurant, just what I needed. I began to approach the counter when Rule 7 blared in my mind like a tornado siren. I froze mid-stride. "Just ignore him, Blair. It's almost 2. You got this," I reassured myself, starting my closing duties early. That was easier said than done. The child began wailing, shrill, high-pitched screams reverberating off the walls. He ran into the kitchen area, allowing me a full view of his tiny frame. The boy couldn't have been older than 6. His Pac-Man t-shirt looked well outdated, and he was filthy, as if he hadn't showered in years. He began tugging on my shirt, begging for attention. "Please help me, lady. I can't find my mommy," he cried, tears streaming down his rosy cheeks. He was relentlessly pulling at my clothing. That was it. I'd reached my breaking point. If this child, monster, demon, whatever he was, planned on killing me, he could go ahead and put me out of my misery. I was done. "Get out! Just screw off and leave me the hell alone!" He immediately quit sniffling and straightened up as if I'd flipped a switch. Red tinged his striking pupils. Dread began sinking into my gut. A malicious grin blossomed across his lips. "You made the right choice," he growled as he headed toward the exit. "Weirdo kid," I mumbled, returning to cleaning. I finished up and waited around for 2 to hit, praying for a quiet, uneventful end to my first nightmare closing shift. Of course, my prayers went unanswered. I had a mere 3 minutes until I was supposed to clock out when I spotted it. A dark red, viscous liquid oozing from beneath the stove. Great. Awesome. Just what I needed. I filled up a mop bucket in the storage closet and began sopping up the mystery fluid. If it wasn't blood, you could have fooled me. A persistent copper taste assaulted my tongue every time I opened my mouth. I gagged, forcing vomit back down my throat. The stuff just wouldn't stop coming. On my third bucket full of sloshing crimson, I finally started gaining an upper hand. I mopped fervently as blisters erupted across my hands from the friction of the wooden handle. All the knot blood had been disposed of. I breathed a sigh of relief, careful to avoid splashing myself as I dumped the last of it down the drain. I'd done it. Take that, bitches! I win! I cheered as if I'd just claimed first prize at the Indy 500. My celebration was short-lived once I glanced down at my phone. 2:35 a.m. I bolted to the freezer, scooping up a couple bags of frozen patties. I slashed them open as quickly as I could, hoping in vain that I'd be able to make it out in time. I dumped their contents on the grill, then turned to toss the packaging in the trash. My heart plummeted into my gut. A man stood before me. His black dead eyes matched that of the small mask encompassing the top half of his face. Wispy red hair sprouted from his floppy hat. A matching tattered black and white striped uniform framed his features, accompanied by a dingy red tie dotted with images of burgers. He grinned at me, jagged rotten teeth sending a chill undulating through my entire body. He spoke, a rough, gravelly voice shattering the tense silence. Look, I know you're new here, so I'll spare you this time. But if I ever catch you in here this late again, I won't think twice about increasing my calorie intake. His wicked smile exuded a malevolent hunger that still haunts my nightmares. A wet gray tongue wormed its way around his cracked, withered lips. I felt like a mouse about to be devoured by a rattlesnake. He scowled at me. "What are you still doing here? Get out!" I suddenly regained my mobility. I tore through the dining area and burst into the cool night air. The Hamburglar's soulless stare followed me into the vacant parking lot. I hurriedly locked him inside and raced to my car as a torrent of emotions flooded through me at once. Fear, anger, and confusion were all prominent on my desolate drive home. In the end, rage won out. I wasn't scheduled the next day, but I was determined to make that smug prick in charge at least give me some sort of explanation. I returned to the Golden Arches around 4 hours later, running on zero sleep and a whole pot of Maxwell House. With fire in my eyes, I flung the door open and marched straight to Dave's office. "Oh, yeah, it was great. Had his car repossessed and everything. Oh, hey, Blitz, Yep, For the last freaking time, it's Blair. Blair. Not Blitzen, not Blaziken, not Blakely. Blair. Dave furrowed his brow, mouth slightly agape. "Yeah, Jim, I'll have to get back to you." He ended the call and furiously pocketed his phone. "Do you even know who that was? I mean, why the hell do you think you can just storm into my office like this?" "No, you listen to me, Davy boy. I just had the worst night of my life. Every weird thing that could have happened, happened. And you don't care one bit. I see you've become acquainted with our more troublesome clientele." "Yeah, I have. And I'm not dealing with that crap again. I quit," I hissed, dramatically slapping my hat onto his polished cedarwood desk before turning to walk out the door. "Wait, 25 an hour." I stopped dead in my tracks. I reluctantly faced him, A sly, toothy grin was stamped on his greasy face. I mulled it over. That was almost double what I was currently making. I could have my college paid for in no time. 27 and you've got a deal. You drive a hard bargain, Mrs. Blair. I accept, he said, extending his hand. I begrudgingly shook it, cringing as his sweaty palm gripped mine. I'm glad you were able to see reason. Welcome to the night crew.